Legislation to be announced by Rishi Sunak tomorrow. Asylum seekers who arrive illegally on small boats will be prohibited from claiming British citizenship and removed to a third country. Despite the previous failure, though, of the Rwanda plan, Number 10 are insisting that tough new laws can be brought in without leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. Yeah, OK. Ahead of tomorrow's announcement, a government source told The Times it is bad enough that illegal migrants abuse our asylum system to frustrate their removal, but it is far worse that they can settle here permanently and apply to become a British citizen. The ability to settle in this country and become a British citizen is, and this is the crucial bit, is not a human right, it is a privilege, which is why we will ban illegal migrants from ever coming back to the UK after we have removed them. But what do you make of that statement? Is entering this country a privilege rather than a human right, Carol?
Of course it is. Of course it's a privilege. It's not just entering this country, but being allowed to stay in this country and everything that comes with that. And it's the height of arrogance for economic migrants, people coming from safe countries, to imagine they can just come here and settle and do it illegally. It's not on, you know. It's right. And I think what Rishi has done, I hope to God it works. Labour are already trashing it and saying it's unworkable, but it will become unworkable if it has opposition from Labour. But the way it stands, it's a very good idea, and I'm pretty sure that Sunak will have the country behind him.
I'm going to come back down the line and talk about the workability and the legal ramification of this in a minute. I'm just going to stick for now, Benjamin, with this idea as to whether or not it is a human right to be able to come and live and work in Britain, or actually it's a privilege.
Well, we're privileged to have been born here, and these people who are fleeing often terrible situations did not have that privilege through no consequence but the bad luck of where they were born. And it is a human right to flee war and torture for a safe country. And that's what Britain is. And too often, more often enough maybe, we talk about our proud history of taking all those Jewish refugees and the work of the late Sir Nicholas Winterton to this country. And we take pride in that today. And yet when we turn down these people from countries like Yemen or Afghanistan,
but we're not doing
we are shaming our history of World War II because we are not letting these refugees in.
You know that there are safe routes into this country for people from Afghanistan. I just want to say, and talking about the heart of this country, we've given visas to 190,000 Ukrainians this year. Right. So it's tosh to say,
why is it to give it to Ukrainians and not Afghans? That's racist.
We do
as far as I'm concerned.
All of you stop. OK. And breathe.
Are you trying to be the presenter now, Patrick?
Oh, a bit, yeah. It's what I get paid for, but obviously not paid enough. Belinda, is it a human right or a privilege?
It is 100% not a human right to become a British citizenship. It is a privilege, as it should be. Our country has spent centuries of spilling blood and fighting and going through civil war and famine to create a country with incredible values, incredible human rights values, and we've earned it through the blood spill to this country. People cannot just turn up here and be arrogant and assume that they get the same rights. Remember, citizenship means being able to vote. So if you have open borders and you let everyone come in here and just gain citizenship like that, the demos will be completely destroyed. We won't be able to
We kind of do have open borders currently. That's what it feels.
Can I ask Benjamin?
And this isn't the Holocaust, Benjamin. Stop comparing economic migrants to the Holocaust victims.
But these people, many of them are coming from atrocious situations.
From France.
You talk about blood spilt. These people have had their own blood spilt when they're coming from countries
Let me come in here, Benjamin, because I want to ask you about this, OK? Because when it comes to those countries, we do our bit, OK? And we have absolutely stepped up, including, actually, in many cases, trying to arm the people who are defending themselves in those countries. Should the people of Britain not have a right to something that Belinda was alluding to earlier, which is the right to live in a country that, frankly, has been made a very successful country by their forefathers and not messed up by people who used to live in other countries? So if we've got a better country, should we not be proud of that and protect it for ourselves?
Well, you might need a history lesson. Britain is a successful country built on migrants. We are a country that had made half the world British and then over generations have invited people to this country. You know, our NHS is built on people that came in the 60s. We've got a generation of people from around the world.
Long before empire.
Okay. And so, you know, the idea that we are not a country of migrants is nonsense. We are. And the truth is that if we are a moral and upstanding leader in the world, then we should take these refugees.
You've got to stop this myth, this lie, that everyone coming on those boats is fleeing war and persecution.
Well, then you've got to stop this myth and lie that they're all rapists and murderers.
We never said that.
We know that more than 40% of the people coming are from safe countries. And by the time time even the genuine refugees get here, they've passed through half a dozen safe countries. So they're not that desperate, are they, to stay in those
Now, that's
countries?
the point, actually. That is the point. Belinda, I'll just bring you in on this one, because when we talk about it being a human right to live and work in Britain, or a privilege, if you've passed through numerous different safe countries, you could argue you should say that, and that's where the human right element comes in. If someone's in France and they go, well, I just want to leave France because I prefer the look of Britain, that implies to me they think it is their God-given human right to live wherever the heck they want.
Yeah, the UK is one of the most generous countries.
No,
we spend £13,500 per head per year on every asylum seeker that comes to this country, and access to all our welfare, which
no, we don't.
Yes,
£7 million a day.
All right.
Actually.
No, but
£7 million a day.
The most important thing is that we cannot open up to the poor. That will make us a poor, and it doesn't rise up the global poverty. It doesn't increase the well-being of the global poor, letting everyone in. And what Benjamin's doing is constantly blurring the line between economic migrants shopping around every EU country until they find the most generous one.
We've only got a couple of minutes, and I want
to talk... But it's factually wrong, so they can just get any benefits. That doesn't apply to economic migrants, let alone refugees.
Okay, right. So I just want to move this on, because we've got a couple more minutes on this, and this is a key point that's going to be... I mean, this is going to be the news tomorrow, OK, which is what on earth Rishi Sunak is planning on doing if he's not going to pull us out of the ECHR or just flagrantly break international law. Then how the living heck is he going to sort out what's going on in the Channel?
What he has to do is find a safe country that isn't Rwanda, and he has to do a returns deal with President Macron. That will go some way to stop it. He also has to say clearly that the minute someone from a safe country comes in here, say an Albanian, they're not allowed to even stay there 28 days. They can be immediately deported. There can't be any argument about it. There's nothing that means that those people should be able to stay. So those three things would be a start.
I mean, I've no dispute with the fact that we shouldn't be taking Albanians. Countries like Germany, Sweden, Netherlands have taken 0 Albanians. So I really don't get why that's not more straightforward. But the truth is that Rishi Sunak announcing the same claim over and over again, it's got it's got more to do, it's got less to do with small boats and more to do with the Tories' small votes. It has.
How long is trying to spin? How long have you been sitting on that one, mate? I like it there. I like it. Belinda, just talk to me about the legal consequences to this, because I don't really see a way that we can't come out of the ECHR and at the same time deport who we want to deport, or at least offer a deterrent there.
Well, as Benjamin mentioned, Germany has zero tolerance policy towards Albanians, and yet they're in the ECHR. So actually, it's this government, even though we're within these treaties that allow us to deport, they refuse to because they want mass immigration.
Would you feel comfortable?
I do want mass immigration,
Would you feel comfortable?
by the way.
I'm going to ask you all the same question here now. Belinda, would you feel comfortable if we did just break international law?
100%, and countries break it all the time. The EU breaks international law with WTO rules. Germany broke international law in 2020, and no one says a peep, but good old England has to suffer. The UK has to suffer.
And what it is, it's to do with the modern slavery laws. Germany and France, they won't have any truck with Albanians trying to break those laws. But in this country, we have allowed ourselves to be manipulated by them.
So you would be happy. I can tell you would be. I take it you wouldn't.
The nonsense of those claims are the fact that France takes far more refugees than the UK.
Have you
seen the size of it? Have you seen the size of France?
Yes.
We are a tiny country.
France has a similar population to us. And I tell you, if we built as many homes as France did, we might be in a better situation.
Did you hear what Belinda said? France is 4 times the size of
England is one of the most highly densely populated countries in Europe, bar Monaco and Malta and Vatican City. We cannot take more people in.
Britain is full of pensioners. We desperately need more people.
We need more people of working. There you go.
Is that really what you're saying?
No, I'm saying we need more workers. Refugees are
Benjamin Butterworth, advert for Dignitas there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, look, thank you. I know it wasn't really. Right, coming up. I tell you what, this show has been fireworks from start to finish. Coming up, my superstar panel